Welcome back, guys. It's Jason with your Hopium Free Crypto Update. Well, firstly, I wanted to say thank you to everyone watching the videos and subscribing to the channel. We just hit 250,000 subscribers overnight, and on Twitter, getting very close to 50,000 as well. So if you're not following, check out the links down below. Use those official links. There is only one account. Don't get scammed out there. That for Instagram and for Twitter. There is no Telegram account. Now, I wanted to start with that because the markets are going down. Throw a little bit of good news in there, even if it is about my channels, because the market is looking like it is crashing yet again. And the main thing that I want to drive home at the moment is to have a plan. And if you're feeling yourself getting worked up, stressed out, unsure, fearful, take a breath, take a step away from YouTube. Now, you're probably not coming to YouTube for some sort of pep talk from some random YouTuber online. Maybe you've been following me for a while. But honestly, that is probably the best thing to do. Watching YouTube videos time and time again, especially with the amount of confusion out there and massive titles and thumbnails and urgent and you know how it works. It's just buy this, it's final chances to get things, resets, crashes, etc. We all do it. I'm guilty of it as well. So I'm not picking on anyone here. But the main thing to do here is to take a step back. And I was just thinking about that when I was watching the Crypto Sniper. It's one of the best channels out there on YouTube. I'm sure no one has ever talked about it or seen it, but Crypto Sniper, probably the best channel from 2017 and continues to be so. Continues to be the best channel out there. He's a legit trader, long term. And I'm bringing this up because the market is crashing. You're seeing all of these titles, everything's going nuts. What do you do? Take a break, take a step away, because otherwise there can be some harsh repercussions. And we're just seeing from Chico Crypto this morning, this may be the end, I'm sorry. No need to be sorry. You know, Chico's going through some depression here at the moment. Nothing to laugh at. Many people, especially males, have been through this as well. And if the markets get crazy and more fearful, there are going to be more people that are upset with themselves. So make sure you have a plan before you get into something. You know, making YouTube videos, maybe that's a plan, but if you don't have a plan to take a break and rest and recover, you're going to get thrown into the deep end, and it's really going to screw with you mentally. And that's going to make it extra hard to be buying the dips or planning good times and holding on for the ride when crypto does come back. And it will eventually come back. It just takes a little more time to get there. So take a few lessons from what you're seeing out there. Take the pep talk from me. Don't take it, whatever you want to do. But I wanted to throw something a bit more real in there at the beginning, because taking some time away from the screen can be so much more helpful than trying to sift through all of this YouTube stuff, the good and the bad, looking at Bitcoin, how scarce, blah, 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 right? Because at these times, it is extremely fearful, and you need to get your middle point back. You need to start to feel what's going on. And of course, we can see the market's extremely fearful at the moment. The fear is here. The extreme fear was here last week, and just a month before it was extremely greedy. So the flips and the flops when it comes to emotions are crazy. Does this mean that I'm changing my views? No, the market hasn't changed. I have my plan. My plan still says macro bull. I have my ideas of what I'm doing with the market. And when I get overloaded with work or with videos or whatever it is I'm doing, I take a break. Saturday, I didn't put a video out. I said, screw it. It's been all year. I've been doing a video every single day. I want some time away from the charts, the videos, whatever. Everything is going to be here when we come back. Think about the entire year, all of the bad news, all of the good news, as well as the bad news. What has changed? Not much. Bitcoin is pretty much where it is when it started at the beginning of this year. Of course, there's been huge gains made in between. If we just look back at January, we had a top of 42,000, currently sitting at, call it 47,000. So out of all of this emotional turmoil and energy sucking investing, you need to take a break at some point. And maybe Christmas time is a good time to do that. And of course, there is the tax year coming up for the US guys. Maybe people are selling out at that point. So the pep talk at the beginning, I also want to look at some of the real potential reasons for this. But of course, I use the charts more so because the charts are going to tell us before the news, but people want to know what's going on as well. And you can see that the narrative, and I tend to use the word narrative when it comes to news because that's the way I see the news. It's already happened. They've already had their meetings weeks or months ago as to what they want to do. And it looks like the small fry, us, the plankton, are now getting told about the inflation, or at least that's where they're trying to shift the narrative. That's affecting the markets. You're seeing the traditional markets fall. Crypto is still risky, so people are taking profits out of the market, or at least de-risking themselves by taking some crypto out, especially the big players, because the big players is the money coming in. I'm not going to get into this whole whales manipulation. They're out to get us. It's absolute bullshit. You hear the channels and the people talk about the whales, the big hands, they're out there to try and screw the little guys. Sure, they'll take your money, but you don't have the money. I don't have the money that they want. They want the big money from the other big players. We know the figures that are around 95% of the money in the market is big money. So if we're only 5% of the market, then there's not much for them to actually play with. So the whole whale manipulation thing is really just a game for people who are beginner investors trying to tell other beginner investors it's you versus them. They're versing each other, taking each other's money. We're just trying to deleverage the stresses of the market at this point, take a bit of a break. So Fed faces 40-year high inflations as it holds final 2021 meeting. I don't think the market is going to crash like we saw in 2020. I don't think we're getting a GFC crash like we saw in 2008. The macro cycle is still up. It's still going up. Property's going up. Stocks are going up. We will have big corrections in between that. That is what happens in markets. And that's just more of the news here. It's just trying to push it around. The Fed is possibly going to raise interest rates, but I don't think they'll raise it very much. And this will take months to play out as well. So they might raise it, then they'll have to bring it back, then they'll have to start printing money again, all that sort of thing. So it's just a long game. The game takes quite a while. It's not going to happen next week or next month, but the game will take some time. And if you've got the patience, you'll be there at the end of it to be making your big bucks that you want to make at the end of this crypto game. The other thing to note is the US dollar. The US dollar has been seeing some strength. Look at where it's coming in at resistance. Bang on 50%. If I bring that back down to the low, on 50%. Now, if it gets this close above it, we're on a macro chart here. Probably want to go to the monthly more so for a bigger market like this. We get the closes above here, above the 50%, above the 96.25. Then this is looking even stronger for the USD at the moment. Remember, we're being told that there's inflation. There's a lot of money printing. US dollar's weak. It should crash. Bitcoin should take over. Whenever that gets that sort of news comes into the market too much and people get their hopes up so high that Bitcoin's so undervalued because the US dollar should be crashing, we know that there is the max pain for the unsuspecting investor. And at the moment, there are cycles. There's always cycles. USD is strong at the moment. It might become weak again later. This is just the chart. This is not my opinion. And we're seeing the market start to move. Now we want to see the close above here for the strength in the USD, if that's the game you're playing. And then hopefully at some point the strength wanes out, fades, and we start to see some of that money flow back into other assets. This is the same deal when we see strong money go from Bitcoin into altcoins to start gambling. Same deal here. USD is the God market, as I've taken from the Crypto Sniper, of the fiat currency system. And this system is tens of trillions of dollars, not just our $2 trillion in crypto. So let's just take a broader view here. Of course, this is the way I treat the markets, and everyone's entitled to their own way of investing and looking at markets. Of course, we can then throw in some hopium and look at the coin shares ins and outs, the flows here. The year to date, the flows are huge across Bitcoin and Ethereum. Binance, not so much. But of course, Solana is the other big player here for the year to date, and the assets under management still pretty high. We haven't seen any negatives, of course, and they just continue to grow. But of course, ebbs and flows. That's what we're looking at here. Now, within these periods of the market, when the market is down, you can go and set yourself up your superannuation. A lot of people have been asking about this when the market was at its extremes and then feeling like they had missed out buying the tops. So take the time now to do something like this. Set up your superannuation. Links are down below for the Aussies, and I will have a link for the US superannuations coming out soon with your IRAs. So this one, check it out, 20-minute free phone consultation. You can get your superannuation, start your planning to be purchasing cryptos, metals, property with your super money while the market is down. That's what you want to do. And for the US guys, you've got things like Coinly. Link is down below as well. Tax time's coming up. This one aggregates all of your trades, and so it becomes an easy printout for your tax accountant. So check out Coinly. Link is down below for your freebies and credits. So back to the market, we're at a 2.1 trillion. We're going to look at Bitcoin and Ethereum on the charts. Bitcoin, 888 billion. I like that. ETH, 452 billion. So it is basically half the value now, just a little over half of Bitcoin's market cap value. Solana down the list is 1/10 of Ethereum. And then we keep flowing down to Cardano. I did a post a while ago looking at Cardano potentially dropping out of the top 10. And it's a way off it at the moment with Doge at 21 billion. But at the moment, if ADA doesn't hold that 90 cents to $1 level, then we could see it start to flow a little more out of ADA. A little way off at the moment because we're at $1.20. So let's hope that one holds up. But apart from that, yes, we are seeing the floodgates open for some of these cryptocurrencies. ETH and Bitcoin are still the strongest if you want to remain in the cryptocurrency space. And I'm looking at that here with Bitcoin, comparing the cryptos against Bitcoin, of course. So all of these here are in the red. The ones that are in the green, of course, are the stable coins. And of course, there's a small difference with some of these cryptos. XRP, 0.4% on the 24 hours. I'm looking for stuff that is far more greater than a 1%. And pretty much everything you can see is in the red. This is on the hourly, and there's a 24 hour. So things are in the red, red, red. The greens are generally a slight number or a stable coin. So the biggest one I can find here was Cell and Frax, Deso, stuff that I've never heard of and I'm not interested in trading. But the main one here is Sushi, at 11% increase. So maybe DeFi is finding its legs eventually. So that's where I'd start to look for these altcoins that I'm buying up at some point. I don't see the low just yet, but I'm going to be keeping my eye out on the DeFi space because it peaked in 2020. We're nearly into 2022, so maybe it's had enough time for its downtrend, its rest and recover before it moves again. Now, if that's not good enough for me, then I'm going to go across and look at the ETH chart. What is moving against Ethereum? Because Ethereum is my other strongest crypto. That's been what I've been saying across the channel for many, many weeks now, and for Ethereum for a pretty long time. And so if I'm going to be risking cryptocurrencies at lows to be buying different cryptos, I want to make sure that they are strong against Bitcoin and Ethereum because they're my two major holds. If the market goes down, Bitcoin and ETH aren't going to drop as much as these other cryptocurrencies. Sure, I've been buying at the lows. It was extremely fearful times. No one was here in 2018, 2019, and early to mid 2020. And now everyone's here. So just look at this as your opportunity if we do go down lower to that range of $30,000 to $40,000 as another possible reaccumulation period. We're not there yet. Well, I'm not going to get myself too worked up about that. This chart's against Ethereum or CoinGecko, comparing it to ETH. And again, Sushi's up there, 11% against ETH in the 24 hours. Most other things that you see USD that are up 5 to 6%, that's obviously US dollars or stablecoins against ETH. Again, the same cryptos that we see, Deso, Frax, red, 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 small amounts here, and pretty much red throughout. So I'm happy holding Bitcoin and ETH at this point in time. Yes, they are falling, but I'll use them to get some cryptos at a later point in terms of which altcoins I'm liking the look of. Link was one of those. I don't see a bottom yet, but eventually. Matic, yes, that's something that I have been looking at. Mentioned it out to my Patreon and premium members yesterday as a good looking entry. And reason being there is I think it will possibly play similar to Ethereum, but give me a higher gains and further losses if it goes down further. So the Bitcoin chart, not much has changed since yesterday, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. We have broken down under the 50%. The week's not over yet, so a close above 49 is going to be nice. Close underneath, of course, is going to look for further downside at this point in time. Still, the lows are still holding here at this point, and my purple box here between that 35 and 40-ish level as another reaccumulation before we continue on with a bull market. So this is the major point down here, the 28K low on the monthly chart. Across to the total market cap, this also looks like it wants to have a little bit of a play down in the lower 1 to 1.7, $1.8 trillion level again. It's coming down. It's on 50%, which is a good thing. So it's a little stronger, the overall market cap, than Bitcoin. And Ethereum is still above its 50%. So it's still stronger of the two. And I think that is holding up it is obviously holding up the total market cap on its 50% at this point in time. So ETH being the stronger, and it's pivot point down here at 26.50 is still a decent way away. If we take a percentage, it's still about 29% from that low. So that's why I continue to hold ETH and Bitcoin. Macro still intact. Bitcoin and ETH still looking good. In terms of altcoins that I'm buying, well, Matic was one of those, and I'm still looking for other cryptos at this point in time. Mentioning that I've just mentioned DeFi space, it could take still several weeks to several months, and of course I'll update that on the channel. Make sure you've liked, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out the links below of what I've talked about today, and of course the Patreon link is down there. I'll catch you guys at the next video. Until then, have more fun to get more done.